Till you've understood, until you feel it like it's up again. Feel the sunlight on your skin. Keep your heart.
Fosun, better explain the situation to you. Fosun are a Chinese investment company, and the Chinese, they're big companies, were told by the Chinese government about 3 or 4 years ago to get involved in football because the Chinese want the World Cup, you know, the biggest competition in sort of world terms. They want to hold it in China, and more to the point, they want to win it. And they're very ambitious people, the Chinese, and they will do it. And so they're big companies, basically, with the blessing of the Chinese government, came to Britain, where most football clubs are for sale, and Wolves were for sale, and they just bought and bought and bought. So every major team in the Midlands now is owned by the Chinese. And in fairness, I think we've got the best of them. You know, the Birmingham have had the bloke who's been done for money laundering, haven't they? So at least we've got people who put money in and have got a plan. And it seems to be working, apart from yesterday's results, it seems to be working well. They don't make anything themselves, folks, but they own a lot of manufacturing and service businesses, entertainment businesses. They own Circus Soleil, International Circus. They own Thomas Cook's, travel agent. They own Silver Cross Prams. You know, they own those. They got
Good old-fashioned pram.
well. I'll take all this for that.
You know how many gifts as well?
So
You know how many gifts as well?
I think so. I'm not sure. Their portfolio is massive, but the point is that Wolverhampton is only a very, very small part of their business. Now, because we're a championship club, right, and we are subject to what they call the fair play rules, which means that you can only go into debt of 34 million over 3 years. Now, in terms of a football club, that's not a lot. But if we go in the Premiership, those rules don't apply. So if we get up there, please God we will, it means that the coffers are open then. We can access their funding. And this is a massive part of their business. You know, it become a massive part of this, a very small part. We have good links with China now. If you've been to recent matches, you can see there's a lot of little Chinese kids have been playing. They brought 20-odd children over from China, under 10s. I must say, I showed them around. I thought they were quite unruly. They were just quite awful, really. They came in here and they were fiddling around with the blinds, and I said to this kid through the interpreter, "Can you tell him to stop that? He's going to pull the blinds down." Just, you know, acting like a 9-year-old who's got no control. And he carried on doing it. So I said to this interpreter, I said, "Look, mate," I said, "can you stop him? Because he's going to pull these blinds down." And so he went up and he just kicked him. I can't believe it. He just got this kid, just kicked him on the backside. And I was really shocked. I said, "I didn't want you to assault him." I said, "Just tell him to stop." But anyway, it's another story. Different ways. But these children have been selected from all over China, so they're only 10 years of age, and so they were given this impression that they're like little supermen. And I don't think that's good to let a child think that of themselves. But they played against the Wolves boys, and it was filmed and streamed back to China, and 1.5 million people watched it, and that's under 10s. Yeah, just incredible. You can't, it's like going down the clock and you won't get that many people watching that under 9s. But anyway, so this is where the board meets, and this is where they make the decision. So the chairman of the board is one of the employees of Fosun, but we've still got 2 local men on the board. So there's still local involvement. A fellow called John Goff, who owns William Goff the Builders, been on the board a good few years, and you've also got a guy called John Mulwater, who's also been a director for many years. So there's still Wolverhampton involvement, even though it's an international company. So they meet here, they make the big decisions here. And it's in the corner there, you've got a cabinet which has got cut glass in it, in crystal. It's a tradition in the club that if you've been there for 10 years, you present a piece of crystal to the club. So it's pretty good, really. On the wall there, you've got our presidents, our list of presidents. We don't always have a president. A president is an honorary title, and the presidents don't have any say in what happens to the club. The last president we had was Jack Hayward, but we've got a number of active vice presidents, and the vice presidents include Ron Flowers, who was a big Wolves player in the 1950s and 60s, and England player. Rachel Hale Flint, who sadly passed away, she was the vice president. Robert Plant, the bloke who thinks he can sing, he's the vice president. And Steve Ball, who apparently is a tatter. Yeah, they're vice presidents, and they do a sort of ambassadorial job for the club. I did bring some Americans around, and Robert Plant walked past them, and I thought the one was going to win, so couldn't believe it was Robert Plant, because he's very local. Even though he had a bad upbringing because he was born in West Bromwich, but he made it, and he's still here. So he comes to the games, I see him around quite often. Bully, lead main goal scorer, 306 goals. He's still local, and he comes to do a lot of stuff here. He's always here. I was given a job one time showing a group of American cheerleaders around. They were touring the country with their mums and dads, and they were kids about 15 years, 16 years of age, nice looking girls. And I was asked if I'd show them around, and Bully, being vice president of the club, was asked if he would meet and greet them. So we met downstairs, in the main reception area, and he sat on the counter, swinging his legs, And you've got to remember, he comes from Tipton, and these girls came from Georgia, right? So he starts, he's going, oh, I played here for 13 years, I scored stacks of goals, I had me on some bally, and you know, and these girls are looking at him, and he must have held their attention for 4 seconds before they were. So I'm waiting in the corner, like, stop the tours. When he's finished. Anyway, this girl stood by me, she turned around and she looked at me and she said, "Excuse me, sir." I said, "Yes, my dear, can I help you?" She said, "Do you understand anything you're saying?" So I said, "Sadly, I do." So I said, "Can you tell me what you're saying? Because I don't understand anything." So I said, "Well, it's talking about," and so it's, and he said, I basically said the same thing to her, but a bit slower, a bit clearer. And as I'm doing that, more of her mates turned around and look at me. And they turned their backs on him. So he starts going, "What's going on? What's going on? He ain't famous, I'm famous." Oh, but I talk English. Anyway, our presidents are an interesting bunch. The main one there is the first one, Alfred Hickman. The two boys who started the club, when what happened was that they were, these young lads, one was 13, one was 14 and a half, and they used to go to the headmaster's house at 6:30 in the morning. They'd have lessons, and then at 9 o'clock they'd go to school and they'd take over classes, and they'd regurgitate what they'd learnt in the morning. So the one boy, John Brodie, he was 13, he was put in charge of 50 10-year-olds, which you can imagine is chaos. And so they used to truant. So the teachers used to truant, right? And John Brodie wanted to be a footballer, and there weren't many teams around then. He lived at Golthorne Hill, he came down to what is now the West Park, it was called Longacre then, and he tried to join a team then, but they weren't interested in him. They were grown men, they worked for the railway, he was just a boy. And so he was sent off back home. It's with a friend of his called James Hill. They went back to James Hill's house in Blakenell, and they were moaning about the fact they couldn't get in the team. And so James Hill's father, an Irishman called Fergal, was listening to them moaning. And he said, "Why don't you start your own team?" Well, he probably said, "Why don't you start your own team then?" And they decided that's what they do, and they put a notice on the church door of St Luke's. And in the museum, when you go in there, the notice is there. And it asks any gentleman interested in football to come and join. And so they did. And all the people who turned up for the first meeting were all members of the church choir. That's why it became known as St Luke's. Right? And one of the days when they were trudging from school, John Brodie and another mate who was called John Baton were talking about getting this football team started. Alfred Hickman rides past on his horse. He lived up there. He was an industrialist. He owned an ironworks. And they knew he was a sportsman. He'd opened the first indoor tennis court in the world on Golthorne Hill in Wolverhampton. And they said, "We'll approach him and ask him to be the president of our club." And they hadn't really got a club, really. Just got this bunch of mates who want to play. And they wrote to him and said, "Will you be president of our club?" And he started to clear off. He said, "Yeah, I will." And he sent them £2, which in 1876 was what a working man might earn in 10 days. And with that, they bought their first ball. They bought their first kit, which was red and white. Okay, and that was the start of it. And he stayed with them. He stayed with them till his death in 1911, and with him as their president. He saved them from bankruptcy on 3 occasions. With him as president, they went to the cup final 4 times and won it twice. So it was pretty good, really. So he did all right. The other one there worth noting is John Ireland. Read about him this weekend. John Ireland, famous for signing Derek Dougan, big hero of ours, but infamous for sacking Stan Cullis. So I don't know what to make of him, really. The jury's out on him. Anyway, you all right with that? Well, they're very unpopular with football clubs. Somebody does come to represent the sub, but it doesn't work for them. He's actually a guy who reports for Worcester Cricket Club, and he's Everton president. He's not really interested in football. He doesn't talk to you about cricket, and he only does this for money, he says. So he writes them something. But we also get foreign papers and foreign people turn up. Also very popular in odd places like Scandinavia. And about 2 years ago, I brought a group round before a match, and there was a reporter from Sweden here, and he found out that I'm involved in the museum. He come over and he said, "He'd like to present me with a book he'd written." He gave me this book, and it's history of Wolverhampton Wanderers, but it's written in Swedish. The pictures are great, but I don't want anything else in there. It really is. But I was talking to him for a bit, and I said, "How is it that we've got the Viking Ball supporters, the Swedish Ball supporters, but these are big clubs?" I said, "How is it that people in Scandinavia will support a team in the middle of England? But in all honesty, aren't doing very well." Which, he won't. And he said that he thought it was because the BBC would sell Match of the Day abroad, and because these companies, the people in Scandinavia, very, very broad-minded, very fair-minded, liberal, they didn't want shiny bias. So they get the programmes, pull them apart and reassemble them, and then reassemble them according to reverse alphabetical order, because they thought that would get rid of any bias. And if they did that, the first team on was the ones at the end of the alphabet. Now, Wolverhampton Wanderers, W&W, we're at the end of the alphabet, there's only Yeovil after us, right? So very often, we were the first ones on, irrespective of how well or badly we played. And so, the Swede, football's a heritage thing. You watch it, right, you go with your dad and you end up going with your son, that's the way football works, stick with it all your life. It's the same with them. So they'd watch the games, and these Swedes would be saying, oh, Wolverhampton Wanderers are on first again. They must be very good. And they start following the Wolves, and their sons follow the Wolves, and that's the way it's worked. Even the King of Sweden is a member of the Wolves support, believe it or not. So we got them there. The other place we are quite strong is Malta, because the guy who represents UEFA in Malta, he's in the Wolves supporters club. He comes here quite often, old guy now. So, yeah, so in here you've got some pictures of England internationals. Just go and have a minute to have a look at those. I'll put some more lights on for you. On the match days, we provide the journalists with a meal. It might be something like punches chicken or, I don't know, shepherd's pie, something like that. Just really to, it's not a bribe, but they want something nice. This is a great place. If you want photographs, please take them with. This is where the manager will meet the press after the game, and it's got our main sponsors behind it. So you're probably used to that backdrop. So if you want pictures taken here, please do. I'll just give you a couple of minutes just on it, then I'll look furious. And he said, what are you driving that old car like that for so quickly? He said, you're going to kill yourself, you're going to kill your lovely wife there, but more to the point, you're going to kill me and my passengers. And he said, I'm so sorry, he said, I know I was driving fast, so I shouldn't have been. He said, but I've been selected to play for the Wolves for the first time today. Well, I didn't want to be late. And he said, this bus driver said, well, is that true? He said to Bill's wife, his wife said, yeah, it's perfectly true. And he said, it's like turning the tap off, his attitude changed completely. He said, well, he said, you're not going to get there in that, are you, sir? He said, I'll get you there. So he goes back to the bus, and we had conductors then, right? He told the conductor, he said, this bloke's playing for the Wolves today. We've got to get him to the ground. So the bus conductor then tells all the passengers, we ain't going our normal route to Wolverhampton Market today. We're going up to the mall and drop this bloke off. Yeah, I go from Wolverhampton, I go, oh, right, okay. So we sat down on the bus, with the wife, he said, and the bus drives off, he said, we get to the mall, on the way up, people all say, oh, excited, and all this kind of stuff. He said, the bus drives up here, Waterloo Road, dropped us off outside the mall, he said, we go off, he said, and all the people lean out the bus with us, cheering and clapping, so it was great start. Can you imagine that now? No, that's it. But his daughter is Barbara Slater. She runs BBC Sport. So when you see Sports Personality of the Year, her name's on that. She organises all that. But like I was saying to yourself, he's got Alzheimer's, like a lot of old players. Partly might be just everything, the heavy balls and that sort of stuff. But they live in North London. He's in his 90s now, and the family are very worried that people come to the door, knock the door, and say, "Have you got any medals we can have?" And you just give them away. They're very fond of that. Peter Broadbent had Alzheimer's, he passed away now, but we've bought his collection off him for the museum, but off his widow anyway. But she was saying that if they'd left things out in the house, medals on mantles or on top of the telly, and they had tradesmen in gas fitters and carpenters, whatever, very often afterwards they'd find stuff had been taken. So it's just horrible, really, isn't it? Yeah, a lot of players get this. It's seems to be part of the course. It's all the Jeff Astle thing, they blame it on heading footballs when they were young. Players do suffer badly. A lot of players have early hip and knee replacements because of all the twisting they do. John Richards had to have hip replacements in his 40s because of his playing career. So it's not all, bowl shows at all. Anyway, what did you say one of those for us? So we've got the museum. Might have a chance to see that.
Yeah, please home.
All right.
Yeah, thank you.
That's all right.
And please home.
Yeah, we're going to go through that way now, all right?
Yeah, please home.
Yeah, follow us now. Obviously, he did the design for the programmes last year, and it's quite good stuff. It is actually wallpaper. And this idea of the wolf works quite well if works on the idea of the aggression of the wolf, which is a good thing. Well, it might do, but and what he did for the programmes last year, he took the symbol of the opposition team and he had the wolf pitted against it. And it worked if it was a lion, a sort of standoff, or if it was a ram, an aggressive animal. It doesn't work when you're up against Notts Forest and their symbol is an old tree. I thought it was going to cock its legs. Or what's the other one I thought didn't really work was Blackburn Rovers, which is a rose. You can't have a big aggressive wolf up against a rose. We didn't use him this year because we didn't go up. If we'd have gone up there last season, we'd have carried on using him. But because we didn't go up, we're playing the bulk of the same teams we played last year. And so it'd be a repeat, you see. So rather than that, they put Jody Craddock up. When Chelsea came down for that cup game at the end of last season, when they put us out of the cup, and they saw the programmes we had with this design, they were really impressed. I think they're going to use him next year. So you can go online and have a look at his stuff. If you look up a thing called The War of the Wolf, you've got like an animation of this, which is really quite good. We used to have in here, we used to have forests on the wall with wolves coming straight at you, and they superimposed players on it. You're right, mate. You are, yeah. Don't run. But the players that they superimposed on top were bigger than the walls, and so they're sort of like 8 foot high, and so their feet were missing. Look like a team of amputees.